You're listening to the Jaybird Watching Podcast, the official podcast of jaysjournal.com and fansite.com. We are the official ballroom chat for everything Toronto Blue Jays baseball, from game highlights to rumors and all the stuff in between. Here is your host, Craig Borden, with co-hosts Jason Lyons and Liz McGuire. Now let's talk some Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Good evening, Blue Jays fans, and welcome to another lovely evening of the Jaybird Watching Podcast. I am your host, Craig Borden. With me, as always, my best bud, Liz McGuire. How the heck are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I was telling Craig before we had chopped on, I had to go on a work trip to Saskatchewan. I was in Regina, and I saw some dinosaurs, and I very much liked seeing a dinosaur. I saw the biggest T-Rex in the world, but they were smart about it. They're like, fuck it, let's just put them with the smallest T-Rex in the world. So that was a lot of dinosaur contrast that I saw all at once, and that pleased me.
That is very fun, and I'm glad you enjoyed your trip, and obviously you're safe at home and ready for talk Blue Jays baseball like every other Wednesday evening. So, as many of you might be also aware, our third player here this evening, we have Shane Told of the band Silverstein.
Sick.
How the heck are you, buddy? Taking a break from being on stage. So how's your evening going?
Yeah, good. I'm at home. I live in Las Vegas now.
Ooh.
So it's still my afternoon here. That's been an adjustment watching ball games at like 4 p.m, but I kind of like it. And yeah, everything's going great with me.
How many Jays fans are there in Las Vegas? Do you?
You know, we got a lot of Canadians here, so you'd be surprised. I think. You know, I see people rocking Blue Jays hats, you know, when I'm around town and stuff. And there's a fair number of us. You know, I think it's mostly Dodgers fans here, occasionally Angels fans, and a lot of Giants fans. But not that many A's fans, which is, you know, they're coming, and we'll see how that shakes out. But
especially with that lovely ballpark rendering that I keep seeing of what it's going to look like, it's like something out of like Sydney, Australia, with what it looks like almost.
It does. Yeah, it's got Opera House vibes for sure. It's interesting. I haven't been down there yet, but I guess they've actually started breaking ground on it, and I've been kind of meaning to go have a little look and see what it's shaping up to be, if anything yet. But I'm excited. I mean, just to have, like, I'm only 10 minutes from this trip, you know, and to be able to go down there and see baseball, I'm psyched.
Yeah, that's game on.
That's right? Exactly.
Especially when they're in the same division as the Blue Jays, you get a nice convenient that you're going to see them at least probably 6 or 7 times a season right in your backyard.
Yeah, well, that would be great.
Is that what's happening?
Yeah, the Oakland A's are now currently technically, I guess, the Sacramento A's.
That I know.
They're moving to Las Vegas in the near future. Yes.
Okay, but they're not.
Yeah, but I mean, they're not going to be in the AL East.
AL East.
No, they'll be AL West still, but they play each other usually a couple times a year, right?
Good, because I was like, I don't need any more bullshit in the AL East. Like, I can't. No,
it's already enough.
No, it's too many. It's already too hard. I hate it here.
I'd be fine if they swapped out the Yankees for the A's. That would be fine. Like, you know, from a maybe winning standpoint, you know. But hey, whatever.
It's true. I agree with you. But the Jays will play. I love them dearly, but they will play down. Like, we can play the Colorado Rockies and lose 27-2 right now. I don't know, man.
Oh, you mean like who were they playing the other night that they almost had that happen to? I'm trying to blank. The Rockies almost blanked somebody the other night, and I was like, oh my God, that is so like
right?
wild.
I decided I'm on the Rockies bandwagon these days, just for kicks.
So, Shane, obviously, you know, rock star fame, but obviously you have a giant passion for Blue Jays baseball. How did you get into baseball?
I sure do. It was really my family, you know, when I was a kid. It just seemed like as early as I can remember in my life, baseball was on the TV, you know, and, you know, I can remember like probably early memories of like, because I'm born in 81, and I even remember like 85, the 85 Blue Jay team and how good it was. And, you know, I went to exactly one game at Exhibition Stadium before, you know, it switched over to Rogers Center and the Sky Dome. And the Sky Dome opening I actually went to too. So the grand opening, Alan Thicke was the host,
I've seen that.
It rained. We all got soaking wet being there because everyone's like, you got to open the dome. It's the whole point. And they opened it, and then it started raining, and we all got soaked. So yeah, and that was 89. So I was only 8 years old. So it's pretty much been a huge part of just my childhood was baseball with my family and my dad. And it's still like I talk to my every time I call my dad, we still are talking about Blue Jays every single time we're on the phone, and how like right now how frustrating this team is to watch. So it's really a huge part of my life. And yeah, it feels like almost like the one constant in my life, almost, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Kind of like always there, and I'm watching as many of the 162 as I can.
Yeah. So to that point, I guess I'm just going to segue with this horrible joke that, Field of Dreams, baseball speech, baseball marks the time. Clearly, that's been the same thing for all three of us. But we actually do have a question in that same mindset here from one of our fans on the show already. Master is asking, what's your favorite baseball flick?
The Natural. It's
very
not close.
Solid one.
It's the best. I think it's not only is it I think by far, I think it's like, okay, here's my thing about baseball movies. Let me start over.
Let's go.
There's never been a bad baseball movie. And there are a lot of bad football movies, like a lot of bad football movies. And there's a few bad basketball movies. But really, even the movies we say that are maybe not that great in terms of baseball movies are still pretty good. Like Mr. 3000, still a great movie, not one that you would say like, oh, it's in the top 10 baseball movies ever, but like they're all awesome. And maybe that's just part of it is me. Like, what might be the worst baseball movie? Trouble with the Curve. Pretty bad, but still not that bad. Not that bad. So, but yeah, baseball, I love that question. And for me, it's The Natural, which I've been meaning to watch because I haven't seen it in probably about, probably been 7 or 8 years now. And I like to watch it more frequently than that. But yeah, that's my favorite.
There's something about baseball and the pacing of baseball, whereas it's just a bunch of it's a bunch of scrambling, standing around, and then really big moments that I think makes it good for cinema, right? Whereas basketball, there's a lot of running around. Baseball, there's like that moment where like, is it going to happen? Which is in real life, which is like why I think we collectively all love baseball, because like things can change so quickly, and there's always disbelief. And so, and then you see a home run, it's magical. Like every time a home run is magical, and I don't know if the same can be said about a touchdown or a basket in basketball, because there's time. You spend time with that home run, right? Like it's elongated. It's will they, won't they? And then it's magical.
I do love that take. I do love that take. Yeah. I don't know. I think like, there's something about baseball, like there's like more life lessons in baseball or something than other sports too. I don't know why. I don't know why it works so much better for movies, but it just does. And
there's no crying in baseball, which I cry a lot, but apparently there's no crying in baseball. Yeah.
Yep. And that's another one. That's probably a top 5 too.
Yep. The funny thing about you were talking about how baseball's moving to Vegas and everything like that. The Natural was actually filmed an hour down the road from me here in Rochester, New York, and Buffalo. And sorry, I just missed you when you were in town, by the way.
Oh, no worries.
But it was actually filmed at the old War Memorial Stadium in Buffalo. So a lot of people don't know that because we never had a Major League Baseball team here in Buffalo.
I had no idea.
So, but I think, Liz, you hit something funny about the baseball movie thing there too, because there is those pauses in there. You get to see the personality, I think, a little bit more too. You get to see this kind of goof around that we do here on this show, where we, call it the barroom chat for a reason. You get to have that fun, those downs and that, and how do you get a team rallied back up? And there's just as many goofing around and silly things as there are down moments. And to your point, the highest of highs for the home runs. So really cool question.
I will also say one of the greatest Simpsons episode is the baseball episode with the Mr. Burns baseball team. So anyway, baseball is good.
Good stuff. So, as you were talking about growing up watching the Blue Jays and all these wonderful things, I assume you had a favorite player from your youth that really drew you in, because we had some really good teams, especially like you mentioned in the late 80s into the 90s. Obviously, we were the kings of baseball.
Yep.
Dave Stieb.
Yeah.
By far, my favorite Blue Jay, Dave Stieb. And I was actually at one of the games that he lost a no-hitter bid and with 2 out in the 9th inning. I remember it very well. They're playing the Yankees, and it was Roberto Kelly broke up the
I remember that one.
I'll never forget. It was probably 1990, maybe 91. Hard for me to remember exactly, but I was very young. But I mean, I understood the gravity of the situation, even at that age. But yeah, for me, it was Dave Stieb. And I think he's still a very underrated player.
Yeah, he is. Somebody on Twitter was like, "Hey, I pulled this like autographed card, but I don't know who this man is." And it was Dave Stieb. And I was like,
"Yeah, what? It's crazy." And I think because he led, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he led Major League Baseball in wins in the 1980s. Like literally, I think he had more wins in the 80s than anybody. It's like he was the man. And, I think part of it was just the Blue Jays being an expansion team and being from Canada, and like not the press coverage that he would have gotten being in another organization. I see someone talking about the Mets in the chat too. Like, but it's like, it's interesting for that. And so it was definitely Dave Stieb. And then I think probably in terms of the offensive players, it's got to be Joe Carter. He reminds me a little bit of, like, he doesn't quite have the charisma of Vladdy of the era, but he was kind of almost that guy, the closest we kind of had to that, I think, in the 90s, because he had that like smile, and he was sort of the face of the team, and he just seemed like kind of the nice guy, a power hitter, and just, obviously, like, Alomar was the best player, but there was something about Joe Carter being like, he seemed like he could be your friend, on the team.
We all didn't have, but you watched him on TV, right?
Yeah, I actually did one time. I was very young, I think, and I went to the city with my mom. We took the GO train, and I was going to go to buy a guitar. I remember I'd saved up some money, and my mom and I went and we bought a guitar, and we were walking down like Spadina or Queen, and we were walking, and then this man ran right in front of us to get some out of his car, and we stopped in our tracks. It was Joe Carter, and he was just like, and he was just right there, and it's like he ran by, and he like kind of looked at us and smiled, and I was like, that's the guy. That's the guy. And like, when you see a celebrity in person like that, it's not like there's no like, oh, I'm not sure if it's him or not. It's like, that's the guy. I've seen that guy hundreds of times on TV, and now he's there, and he looks like even more like himself, and
that's awesome.
So, yeah,
you saw him
those are just
in the wild. You saw him in the
wild. In the wild, yeah. In
the wild.
So those are two of my favorite players. Someone's talking about Olrud in the comments too, and Olrud was a special player.
Boom.
But
Olrud.
The thing about Olrud, and I hate to say this,
let's go.
He wasn't that cool. He wasn't that
cool. He wore a helmet.
He did his job.
That's part of what made him less cool. Maybe maybe I shouldn't say that publicly, but he was like lanky, tall. He couldn't run very fast, and he didn't even hit that many home runs. He was like a high average guy, walked a lot, and he didn't have the, like, you talk about an underrated player, and another Met. And like, yeah, so I don't know, like, Olrud was awesome, but I mean,
not a dazzler.
Not a dazzler like Alomar or or even like Kelly Gruber. I mean,
okay, so I got a baseball signed by Kelly Gruber 3 weeks ago. It was recently.
I have one too from years ago.
Yeah, it says he's like, he did a signing in town, and so I got him to sign it. I didn't meet him. I just like filled out a thing of paper because I couldn't wait in line. Yep. And it just says, Liz, I tagged him, Kelly Gruber.
You must have gotten that good word in from our buddy Jeff Fry, though. You did meet him.
I did, Jeff Fry. Yeah, Gruber, man.
Jeff Fry,
Gruber's
one of the only Blue Jays to hit for the cycle.
Yeah, Jeff Fry's
There you
awesome.
go.
Yeah, awesome dude. And like,
Friend
okay,
of the show.
I will say the story because it's my favorite story. Okay, so Shane, Jeff Fry is like, he gets the last part of the cycle, the single last. He's got the home run, the double, the threesies, the triple, and he just needs a single. But he shoots a double, and he's like, and he's asked Cito Gaston before, what do I do if I get a double? And Cito's like, stop at first base. So he got a double. He stopped at first base to complete the cycle, and everybody shit on him.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the manager told him to do it, and so did the first base coach.
Yeah, I don't know.
Take a win for yourself.
I like here's the thing about that. It's like the old story about Ted Williams, right? Going into the last game of the season, and all he had to do was sit to hit 400 and not play, right? Because you got to figure you got to go at least 2 for 5 to hit 400. It's not easy to do.
That's hard, yeah.
But he's like, you know what? I fucking have honor and integrity, and it's fucking Ted Williams, like the king of that. And guess what? He whatever the story is, he went 3 for 4 and hit 406, or I don't remember the exact numbers, but that's the mentality, and that's the stories we grow up on when we learn about baseball.
Yeah.
So like, and at the time, the moment, nobody realizes that like that was a conversation with Cito Gaston and whoever the first base coach was. So people just look at that and they go, well, what about what Ted Williams did or whoever else? And that's like the integrity of the game. Again, I don't know what the score was at the time. Were they winning 9-0? Like that also kind of matters too, I guess. But yeah, I don't know.
But
it would have been funny if you got.
I was glad that we had him on and we had the story out of him.
Yeah, I know. It would have been funny if you got thrown out at second and then was like, that's what I would have done. I would have got thrown out at second. It would have counted as a single. And then you'd be like, well, I still went for it for the double, so no one can shit on me, but then I would have got the single and got the cycle anyway.
All right. Parallel universes. I like this. There you
go.
Yep.
Shane's reading into that box score. That's all I heard.
No, I haven't looked at the box score. I would love. I don't. That's a weird thing. Is like I knew that happened, but I never watched that game. I don't even remember what year it was.
Right, because it's bigger than you. That's why, man. It's bigger than you.
The only reason I remember that year is because we had the worst logo ever that year, and it was the 2001 Muslar.
Oh, that logo was trash. Cursing.
Which logo was that?
Wonderful.
The Blue Jay that's got the maple leaf
the
on his arm, and he's
around it. It was like 1 year.
It's called the muscle board, and kids love it. It's essentially like the Poochie of our logos. It's like it's not good.
Good stuff.
Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, the big T.
Yeah. We got a couple of insights from our fans in the cheap seats watching this show. Apparently, there was only one person that beat Dave Stieb in wins during that tenure of his. And
in the 80s?
It was one of his teammates in the 80s. It became his teammate in the 90s. Do you know who that might be? They won a World Series together. Starting pitcher.
Oh, what? Clemens?
No, it was Jack Morris, 92.
Oh, Jack Morris. Yeah, of course. He's
the only pitcher that has more wins than Dave Stieb. And he doesn't have quite as many innings.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I remember when I was I think it was 93, and my dad and I went down to Detroit to go to a series there at Old Tiger Stadium, and Jack Morris was pitching, and because he's a former Tiger, they were really shitting on him. Yeah. I remember, and he fucking shit the bed, dude. I don't know how many runs he gave up. He gave up like 8 runs in the first 2 innings or something. It was like brutal. I know these guys in the comments are gonna pull up that box score now too. But yeah, I was at that game, and I remember I think we went to 2 games, and one of them they won and one of them they lost, and one of them we sat directly behind a pole too.
Sweet.
Yeah, because that happened back in those old stadiums.
That's right. That did happen.
What a time warp that ballpark was. You know, I've been to the old the Tiger Stadium, and for as crummy as it was, there was something fun about it. And I think there was somebody could hit a tank and it would actually go out of the actual ballpark. There's only one guy that's actually done it, and he's a former Blue Jay that we traded to the Tigers, and that's Cecil Fielder. There's only one person that, even though it doesn't seem like it was too far away, he's still the only one that actually hit one out and over the actual roof in Tiger Stadium. So and that won't happen anymore. So it's a beautiful ballpark they got now.
It is really nice.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
Yeah. So anyways, I wanted to, now we've talked about your Jays past. We're getting toward the second part of our hour here. Now it's time to talk about what's going on today, my friend, because there is so many different things we can be chit-chatting on here. Pitching, hitting, or not
hitting.
It's endless frustration is what we are absolutely dealing with as far as I'm concerned, man. It's like they get swept, then they sweep.
We sweep something.
Then they lose a bunch of close games. And I don't know, man. It's just like really tough to watch. Like, it would be one thing if this team was like bad.
Yeah,
on paper,
bad and fun.
You'd be like, all right, that's fine. Because I don't. The thing is, I don't know. I don't know. Are they bad or are they good, or are they overperforming or underachieving? It's really hard to know. I don't think anyone really can tell me that. And you guys are more experts than me, but it's just tough to know what the fuck is going on.
I don't know. I think the thing is, like, every time they put a team together, you're like, on paper, this team slaps, and then they just don't hit the ball or catch the ball, and they give up 1,000 runs, or they don't give up 1,000 runs, but they don't hit the ball at all. So, but like, my thing is that we are the team that we are. So, like, right now, what are we? Are we under 500 still?
2 games under, I think.
2 games.
Yeah, we're 2 games. That's the team we are. I don't give a shit of like speculation of slow starters. Santander isn't hitting the ball at all. Like, and they say he's going to heat up, but like in this moment right now, we're not very good.
Yeah. Well, if one guy's not, hitting or whatever, and then someone else is at the time, like Varsho's really hot right now. Is that going to stay? Like it's always there's always a push and pull, right? That's just baseball. Like no one's hot, everyone at the same time, and everyone goes up and down, and even with pitching, that tends to be the case. But like you're right. Like it all averages out, and like a 2-game under 500 start, whatever, how many games we are into the season, whatever, like 50 games in or something. It's like, that's kind of makes sense, really. It's just weird because when you watch as many games as we all do and you see it, the way that it all like shakes out in the end doesn't feel right.
No,
because it's like they lose so many close games. I guess they win close games, and then they'll like randomly lose fucking 14-0 or whatever it was the other day. It's just a really strange team with an outcome that sort of seems like what we would have expected.
Yeah, I was hoping they'd be better than last year, though, and I don't know if they're better than last year at this point. And I think it is crazy, Shane, because like the thing is like it's going to go up and down, and then the AL East will all be like 5 games apart at the end of the season. Like,
I know
we're in 3rd place right now.
That's baseball.
Just saying.
Yeah, I know. But then then you look at those moments, right, where they lost those 2-1 games, and like you can always look back at the season and go, well, there's 5 of them right there.
Right there, yeah. Don't forget 2021 where you missed the wild card by 1 game.
Yeah.
1 game.
I know. It's really wild. Yeah, people in the comments seem to say that the team ain't making the playoffs. That's what Pet Pie says. And I don't think we can rule them out quite yet, because a lot can happen, and I think this team could surprise some people. But right now, it just seems like they're just too inconsistent.
Yeah,
that's really, I think, the word.
I think the reason that it's not completely out of it is, like I said, I made the joke that we're in 3rd place at 2 games under 500. People forget that even in 93, the Blue Jays were around 500, and then we traded for the farm, got everything we needed. 2015, same thing. So there is a lot of season. You mentioned 50 games. We're 54 games in currently, as the game is going to kick off right at the end of tonight's show in Texas. So as these kind of things go, the biggest question, at least on my mind, and I'm sure it's on both of yours, is do you push the chips into the table or do you trade off and go for next year? And they're going to have to honestly figure that out here in the month of June, because in July is where the MLB draft is. So they're gearing up for that, but then that's the All-Star break. I think it's the 16th.
It's always a hard question. People ask me this kind of stuff, and it's like I don't have the entire I don't have all the contracts in front of me laid out. There's a lot of moving parts to this. It's not as simple as oh yeah, Bo's gone, so today this is the year. It's well, there's a lot more to it than just one guy maybe leaving or probably definitely leaving. It's there's a lot more to it than that. I think you got to look at each deal that comes across the desk and go, okay, what is going to make our team, ultimately better if we can't get the guy we need right now. And it's just going to depend on the record and stuff. But I would say, it's another weird situation where I don't think you're blowing up the team, but I think maybe if you actually get something decent for someone like Bichette, if you're out of it, then yeah, let him go. I think we have to as much as we have learned that Bo's our guy, and we love that guy, or we used to love that guy. It's I think that you have to make the best decision, and that's it. But I think if they are approaching that playoff position where they're either in it or a couple games out of it, I as a fan would like to see them try to get another bat, in here.
And that's where the big win is, because this offense is flat.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess it's just like we thought at the beginning of the season, they just a third baseman would be great, right?
Cool. That'd be cool. That'd be cool.
That's the thing. I felt not enough people were really talking about Bregman as such a potentially key piece. And then he goes to the Red Sox. It's oh my God, really? Maybe that could have been the guy that maybe if he's there, maybe a couple of those 2-1 games that we lost, maybe we don't lose.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, he's a guy that's he's obviously a very good player and has been for a long time, a proven guy. Not that Santander isn't, but he could have been the man, I think, at a position that the Blue Jays really need. But I don't know. I just sing in a band. I don't know what the hell do I know about baseball.
I just showed it the TV.
Not as much as we do.
That's it. But I think that we see in the comments here about Atkins and how he shouldn't be deciding. I think so too. This is going to be beating a dead horse, but is this guy going to get another year? Will Shapiro ever fire his homeboy? I don't. Right. I don't. But this guy's not they keep building. Again, we haven't won a playoff game since 2016. That's going to be 10 years soon. That's insane. This is not.
I wish I had an opportunity.
Yeah, this is not okay.
Yeah.
Yankees fans would never be cool with this, and we seem complacent, or Rogers does anyway. But I just think that at least with Vladdy and Santander, we can kind of see what we're building toward and where the holes are. Whereas previously this year, I was I have no fucking clue what is going on.
I think he's gone. I think he's gone unless something crazy happens and we're talking about them going to an ALCS. I think he's gone. I don't even know if Rogers is going to be keeping the team, right? There's some talk of that too. And it going to MLC and all this stuff. I don't know, but I could see the whole front office being gone, because it seems like they should be gone.
Yeah.
Other than thank God they signed Vladdy, but the opposite the argument is maybe they didn't even have to sign him for that much money when push came to shove. But I don't know. I think he's done a pretty piss poor job overall.
Yep.
And I don't really understand why he still has that job. And I don't know. It's a weird. It's always a weird thing. My girlfriend, she's getting more into baseball lately. She didn't really know anything about it, and I was explaining to her what a general manager does. And she's like, "Oh, well, what about a president? What does a president do?" And I'm like, "Well, what does a president do really?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, it's like they kind of oversee like everything, I guess. But then that role, it can really be undefined or defined differently based on the franchise, right?
Very
and in the
much
Blue
so.
Jays position, I don't really know who's calling the shots on that side of it. You know, I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's very confusing what Atkins and Shapiro and their role, and they came in at the same time, and they were homies in Cleveland, like you said. Like, it's all kind of a weird dynamic that I don't really know how it shakes out, and if they're both talking about, you know, these moves, if they're both in this together, or if Atkins is like putting his foot down and being like, this is what I'm deciding, and my ass is on the line if it doesn't work out. But it's weird. It doesn't seem like that. It seems like everyone's just kind of like towing the line. Okay, we're gonna, you know, like keep our jobs, bottom line. And that's what it seems like they've been doing for, you know, however long it's been since Anthopoulos left and then won a championship
elsewhere. He went away with his championship.
Yeah.
Like,
he went away and then won a lot and did really good stuff for a couple of years.
I think it's funny. Like, I don't know. Like, who? Like, this is the thing. I feel like, Shane, you were a brave one to be like, yeah, I don't get it, because I don't think a lot of people get it. Like, what is the relationship? What is the dynamic? What are the roles, the distinct roles between these two monolithic, snarky, tie-wearing son of a bitches? I don't really know. I don't know. And I think that, like, I don't know. Like at some point, like their attendance has to be
You
down.
have to clip that. That is so good. I'm sorry. Monolithic tie-wearing son of a bitches. We need to. God damn, that was good. Okay,
true.
continue, please. I'm sorry I cut you off.
All good, buddy. But like, this is the thing. Attendance has to be down. The reason why my assumption attendance is down is because I went to a bobblehead night 20 minutes after the game started on like a Friday night, and I got a bobblehead. Like, the lineups in Toronto, usually it would be summertime and the weather's been trash, but like usually you got to get like 2 hours early, right? And I'm just like, cool. Yeah. So I mean, they've got to be losing. Rogers should be losing money. That is my hope. Now I will say that, and I've ranted about this before, that because we're a national team, we don't see the dips in attendance as much as a regional team would. Right? It takes longer. People book their holidays. They have plans, like Newfoundland, etc. But fuck. Losing is a money loser, right? Like, and like their product is on the field. They focus on the cup holders and rich people experiences. But like at some point, Rogers, like, what is it, Ed or Ted? One of the guys whose statues up front has to be like, no, we got to stop losing money.
Yeah.
Quick way to get back to it. I just think it's funny. We got fun from the Mets fan here in our chat. One of our friends of the show, Wrath of Rock 832, Mets fan, as he self-proclaimed earlier in the thing. He knows our suffering from JP Riccardi. Just saying.
Yeah. So, you know, JP Riccardi was and JP Riccardi was like he was kind of he seemed like a scumbag, you know, like he had that kind of attitude. Like he seemed kind of like a doofus, maybe is a better word than scumbag, but he was kind of like a clown, you know? And the thing about him though, was like, he actually made some pretty good moves. Like, I don't know about the BJ Ryan signing, but like he did some okay things with the team at the time. And like, I don't think he was a bad GM really. And it was at the time when the team was like, God, they were right there, but they were playing against like 100-win teams, you know? It was hard. And then they had Anthopoulos. Why did they let him go? He was the guy, like Canadian guy. He didn't
want to stay, man. He didn't like those snakes in suits. He was like, we're not doing that. That was my assumption, right?
Smart move on his part. It worked out for him.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't remember exactly how it all shook out, but like I never liked the Shapiro and Atkins hirings. It seemed weird. And then they made all these like weird Cleveland moves, and it was they keep like trying to get guys that they drafted, and I was just like, what are you doing? Like, is this because you don't know baseball? Like you're going back to the well on
hole.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. I don't know. I'm just looking at the comments here, but yeah, I honestly like don't don't know, but I think there is nothing wrong with cleaning house if the Blue Jays don't make at least win a playoff game. But I mean, I think they got to do better than that even at this point.
Yeah, I don't like being precious. Like, no.
We love a cold calculating that happens to happen here. And maybe I love this show. I hate being this person, but maybe this is just that simple. Quoting Shorzy. It's not that they don't love to win, they don't hate to lose. And you can see that. I can't believe as a fan of that show and a fan of the Blue Jays as much as I am, I've never put those two things together until that. So thank you, Wrath of Rock. Now you just blew up my brain.
It's true though. Like I think you said, Liz, like the Yankees would never stand for, for like 0 playoff wins in the last 9 years. And maybe take the 80s aside from that because they were bad for a long time. But I agree with you. And I think that's maybe part of our, like the Blue Jays have a weird inferiority complex because they play in the division that is like, I always call the AL East like the real major leagues.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe there's a bit of an inferiority complex, but then like, what about the Rays? What about the Orioles being good now? It's like now you look at those teams, it's like it's not just the Yankees and Bo Sox winning all the time. Like it's those teams are good now too. So what's the problem?
Yeah, it's like,
and there's no excuses anymore. Really, is what I'm trying to say.
No, it's true.
Or this year we all suck.
Yeah, but other teams go through comebacks, right? They go through waves, right? And it's like for some reason, the Jays and the management can't get them on that up wave again. Because, you're really good, then you rebuild. You're really good, but we're always in the middle of like.
Yeah. Well, and when you can't build a minor league system, that's the other part. When was the last time we had a talented player like Vladdy come up, or even Bo Bichette? I love Davis Schneider. I love what he did. He had his moment.
He had a mustache.
You weren't. Yeah, exactly. And I love meeting him. He's a great guy, but you don't have those big pieces coming. The ones that we've been talking about on this show for a long time are down hanging out with our buddy Jason, who is not here tonight, in Vancouver.
Let's
two levels down.
Let's give it where's Aurelvis Martinez? Because he was hot shit.
Buffalo.
Then he was like saying he was doing his performance enhancing drugs, which apparently he was taking fertility drugs, so he better have 12 kids by now. But he's like, how is he doing? Why is he no longer a prospect, and why does nobody care about him?
I'm surprised that in the midst of this whole thing, he hasn't, because we could use a third baseman to what Shane had pointed out earlier in the show.
Sure,
he's not. I don't think he's hitting well. So there's that. But like, shit, I missed that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Get him back on the drugs.
I mean, you made a good point, Craig, though, about that, homegrown talent. And who have Shapiro and Atkins signed? Because who signed Vladdy? Alex Anthopoulos. So what the fuck are these guys suck? Like it's I don't know.
Their claim was we were gonna like fix the farm system. They fucking didn't, man. They're shit farmers. Not very good at farming. Like, fuck.
Yeah, no, they're farming fucking soybeans and bullshit like
man.
that. Yeah, it's
not grown baseball men.
Yeah. Aurelvis Martinez has batting 207 in Buffalo, so that might be why you haven't been hearing about it.
I feel bad because like
I don't know about the kids thing.
No, every time we're like we put too much pressure on our prospects. Other teams like don't, because they're like, nah. But like right now, I'm like, why is Arjun only 17? Get him up here. But it's like, no, that's unfair to him. I shouldn't be looking. No. You know what I mean? He needs time to develop, and it's everyone's best interest that he does so. But damn, it's scant down here.
Yeah, and that's the catch, unfortunately. Rough. So, but on that note, I actually had a fun tidbit scene. We started talking about trades and who could, stir the pot and all these kind of things, because there's some things that I honestly think could change this team up. And this actually is within our own division story on how the Red Sox actually reversed the curse in 2004. Do you know what famous shortstop the Boston Red Sox traded right before the trade deadline, the year they broke the curse?
Oh man, we're going back to, you mean in 03?
He had the biggest OPD of putting his batting.
Oh no, Garcia Parra?
You got it.
Yeah.
They traded him that season for a first baseman and a speedster, and they won against the Yankees finally in that playoff series because of those two guys, especially the speedster. So there is not a unfathomable piece here for trading somebody at a high end and being able to win this season. It could be trading one of our pitchers, which I hope they don't do because that's the one thing that's working. So it's not broke.
No, they can trade Bowden. They can trade Manoah. Who the fuck else can they? They can trade some guys.
Bowden?
And to that point,
yeah. I think so.
Yeah.
Good start.
But to that point, you could even trade Bo Bichette to a team that thinks they're going to run with this whole thing and do the same thing. Nomar went to the Dodgers in that trade. The Dodgers didn't even make the playoffs in that whole thing. And they were hoping that he was going to be the catalyst they needed to get him over the hurdle there. But it was the same thing that they, were hoping for the best in that trade. And the couple players that the Red Sox got back actually were that injection of, whatever it needed to be a catalyst in that dugout.
Well, the thing too, it's like we always talk, the trade deadline, like go get the player thing. I think like going to get the player, it's a gamble. It's a huge gamble because you don't know which version of that player you're gonna get. Because let's look at let's say you look at a 6-month baseball season, right? And it's a guy that I'm using I'm using old school statistics, but let's say he's a 300 hitter. He doesn't necessarily hit 300 every month. He might hit 400 one month, 200 the next month. That might be how it works. So when you get a guy at the trade deadline and you pick him up you're hoping that in September he's going to be the guy that he's been on average. You don't know who you're going to get. You don't know if you trade, if let's say the San Diego Padres want Bo Bichette or whoever the fuck, and you make that deal as San Diego, you don't know necessarily you're going to get a guy. You're taking a gamble. So if you're out of it, absolutely trade away guys like that. I think prospects are a gamble too. I don't know if I'm saying go for guys that are double A and lower guys, but if you have serviceable players that you have that are locked up, especially if it's we're talking about relief pitchers, stuff like that, those guys are more valuable than they ever were before. So absolutely, if you're out of it, get rid of these guys that are on expiring contracts. I do not understand keeping them at all. And that's always been my approach. But at the same time, if you're there, then you got to take those chances sometimes. But you got to be careful who you give up if you're, if you want the future.
Yeah, you nailed it, Shane, because that's the exact part of where this team is, why they had to figure out who they are over the next month.
Yeah.
Are they a 500 team? And because they have so many guys they could trade, because at the end of the season, I think it's Bassett, Bichette, obviously, and you got Max Scherzer, who hasn't pitched more than 4 innings yet, but we'll see
Bassett
what happens.
Bassett is a big one too. You're right. Yeah.
But to that point, some team would kill to have Chris Bassett at the trade deadline. He could be the prize, especially
who might they kill? Any ideas?
I don't know. At that point, I will go back to a comment earlier in the. I don't want Atkins making those trades.
Yeah,
I really don't. There's the kill.
But the comment. I mean, Michael Borland saying I'd trade Bo. I don't believe he has any intention on staying.
I don't know. I don't. I disagree because he's a weirdo. Bo's an introvert weirdo. He may not, but I would. Then
why don't players sign with teams now? Then, if you wanted to be with the team long term, why would you not open up the discussion of an extension right now? Then there's no question about what's going to happen. If you want to stay with the team you've been with since you were drafted by the team, right? You've been an all-star with this team. Why wouldn't you just say, okay, you know what? This is my number. Give me my number or don't right now. And then we don't have this conversation. I'm your shortstop for the next 10 years.
It's me. Yeah, I think so. He had he had a bad season last year, but yes, it's true. But again, if we can get a bunch of guys for Bo, I would be like, bye.
Yeah, of course.
Like,
absolutely.
Yeah.
We need guys. And like even minor league guys, like our farm team is in such bad shape. We need right now guys and later guys.
Yes.
Sure.
The interesting thing I think you could do with Bo too is because there's a bunch of teams that do want to, basically take him in free agency. So you mentioned Shane, the San Diego Padres. Are they a team that would build around him and get him to SoCal first and then just, run with it? What do the Padres dump and get back on a team that looks almost identical to the Toronto Blue Jays in the National League? Go ahead, Liz.
Sorry, somebody just comment. Yeah, that is what you get for concussing me. Also, here's what else he gets for concussing me. He has 4 fucking home runs last year, but we all root for Bo. Like, we all want what's best for Bo. But I agree. It's like he's the best piece. I don't know what the shortstop market is. What is it? Yeah, there we go. In the next couple of years, like, is there many coming online all at once? If not, that's good for us. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's only so many of them.
Is Tatis, I don't follow the National League enough. Is Tatis not playing shortstop anymore? Is he playing outfield now?
Outfield these days.
Yeah. And I don't know. But I mean, it's I just said the Padres because they were just playing, like the Blue Jays and Padres were just playing and like, I don't know. I know they're like a pretty good team that might still be a good team come like deadline time or not. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. Someone's saying Dodgers for Bo to move Mookie off of shortstop. That's an interesting idea. That's a very interesting
one. I think the question there is, Mookie's the best player of all time, being as nice of a guy that he is, moving around as much as the Dodgers have made him say. So I assume he wants to go back to the outfield at the end of the day. Yeah. And yeah, it's crazy. And so let's just look at I got the free agent list for coming up this offseason. Bo Bichette is 100% the prize at shortstop this offseason. So
yeah. Well, we forget how valuable shortstops are.
The Rangers.
Yeah. I think that, like, for me, I just yearn for something different. If we keep Bo, I can kind of feel what's going to happen, right? But maybe if we trade him, there's something different.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Shortstops that can bat at the top of a lineup and like hit for power.
Yeah, I know.
That is kind of, that's like sort of unicorn approach. Like there's not been very many of those guys really. Like if you look at it, there's a handful. There's a lot of shortstops that hit 8th or 9th.
Yeah.
That they're defensive guys, and that's just the way the team is built. So when you have, those like Cal Ripken Jr., Alex Rodriguez, to a lesser extent, Derek Jeter guys, you got to keep them. I think you do whatever you can, but this team has not made a priority of keeping him. No one's talking about keeping him. And I think that's because I think he's probably been pretty vocal to them that he's gone. And I think they just don't want to like put too much press on the fact that he's gone, because no one's talking about like, why were they talking about signing Vladdy so much, and there was zero talk of re-signing Bo. Zero.
Exactly.
He's gone.
Crickets.
Yep.
And I think if you were looking at the franchise, the best prospect that we've had in a long time is the gentleman we were talking about that is in Vancouver, Arjun Nimbala. So if you're talking he's 2 years away, you would think he's going to make his way up to New Hampshire at some point this year. That's AA. Then, okay, great. Next year he's in Buffalo /
That's still a long ride, man.
It's still 2 years, but you have Andres Jimenez that's supposed to be a shortstop, which is the other reason we got him. That's apparently his normal position, which I find crazy because I just think he's a good second baseman. Break with it. You just got to learn somebody to hit.
Yeah. Well, you can have. You can have a second
outfield bat.
I think you can have a second base. You can, if you want to put him at shortstop, great. Who are you going to play at second baseman that can hit? You can have one of them be a defensive guy. You can't have both of them, right? Like, you had like Manny Lee play. You had Manny Lee playing shortstop. You had Roberto Alomar playing second. You know what I mean? You had to have like that balance. It's the same. It's just the way it is. You have to have people that can hit in this lineup, and this has been the main problem for the Blue Jays. you've got like, I'm sorry, like Barger and Miles Straw, and these guys are like, I guess they're major league players, but these are not guys like that are going to win you fucking championships.
No,
they're just not.
They're not. Like, and that's the thing is like, I feel like part of the Jays, a lot of Jays fans only watch the Jays. So they're like, oh, these guys are our guys. And you're like, no, they're fucking not. You watch like any other team, you watch how the depth of the, could our team beat the Dodgers with those guys? No.
No.
No. Like that's it. Like it's like no.
Maybe
it's like,
one game out of
maybe.
7.
Like I was straight. Like we
it's
all
not a
know.
wild card game anymore.
Yeah, but it's like no, these are not our guys. These are not our guys. Like, and I think we should know that deeply. There are right now guys, but it's like they're not.
And I think you nailed it right there. The biggest problem we have with this lineup right now is we have a lot of right now guys. We don't have a lot of who are these people going to turn into? How do you get more people in the Vlad category actually in this lineup to mash? And right now you either have to develop it or go get it. And right now the go get it part might be what we were talking about here, trading some of your best assets and running off the next season already.
It sucks that we're here.
That could eat up innings.
Yeah, it sucks that we're here though. I thought we'd be somewhere different, but we're back here again. Like I don't know, when Bo and George Springer crashed into each other and opened up a parallel universe into losing in that wild card game in which we still exist.
That was it.
No, it's like our stupid front office got so spooked. You're like, no, we're gonna make the best Gold Glove winning team you could ever see, and their bats will be so limp that they will be limp for years. And I just it is insane how that we do not have a dinger hitting lineup. It's like not there. There's no depth, man. Remember when we used to have Josh Donaldson, Eddie Encarnacion, Russ Martin could hit a few dingers, also Jose. Right. Like those were dinger hitting teams. And I know pitching wins championships, but fuck.
Every Toronto Blue Jays team up into this current whatever the hell we're dealing with here has been a home run first ball team.
Yeah.
And that's I think the culture problem. Go ahead.
Yeah. I'm really glad to see Eric Swanson just being such a great arm in our bullpen right now, though. Remember that trade? Remember with Teoscar Hernandez? We would love to have his fucking 30 dingers or whatever he's bringing.
Oh my God.
And then you see him just like everyone in LA, because I'm close enough to LA, like everyone loves this guy.
Yeah, because
what's not to love about him? He's like so freaking likable, and his defenseman. Watch too much hockey playoffs. His defense has always been sus, but Eric Swanson had one good year, and they put all of their, chips on this guy. It's like it's disgusting. Is he ever going to come back and be like a eighth inning guy? It just sucks. It's just like what that was such a bad trade. I'm sorry.
No, it was a bad trade. It was a bad trade.
I agree with you.
Yep.
And he might be the best Twitter follow in the Blue Jays fandom right now. Just saying. That's about all.
Eric Swanson, is he funny?
Swanson? Yeah,
he's pretty amusing.
He's good.
Oh, cool. I love that. I mean, okay, never mind. I take back everything I said. No, I have nothing against the guy except he came back from that injury and he was just not the same.
No.
Yeah.
And I
when you watch
what's he doing right now? Is he still hurt, right?
Yeah.
He's in Buffalo rehabbing right as we speak.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's a shame.
Yep. So anyway, Shane, is there any Blue Jay topics you would like to dive in here before we top up the hour? Because obviously we went from talking all things fun with your childhood to, oh my God, Rant Fest, and here we are back full circle again.
I honestly thank you so much for having me, because I've just really enjoyed this. And it's funny because a lot of this stuff, I watch so many Blue Jays. A lot of the thoughts I have and stuff are just kind of in my own head. I don't have a lot of people to talk to about this.
Well, so you got your girlfriend's into the game now.
I'm getting her more and more into it.
This is how you get her into it. The hats are cute. Straight up, the hats are cute.
Yeah. That's true. It's working. It's working. Yeah. No, we're all about it. And she's like, oh, you can do the podcast and then the game's right after. I'm like, I know, it's perfect. So we're gonna go watch the game. But honestly, I really do appreciate you having me on and able to get some of my thoughts out and hear that they're not complete idiotic Blue Jay baseball thoughts, But I love that Wrath of Rock, who's really commenting a lot in the comments. It's a soap opera on dirt and grass. I love that. I love that. It really is. Every day, it never stops.
Every day. What's the gossip? Every day.
And you know what's so funny is like if the Blue Jays had rattled off, like let's say they swept the Rays, and we were going into this and we were like, they won the last like 7 of 8 games. This conversation could be completely different right now.
It would be.
We would be we would not be talking about trade Bo. We'd only be talking about who we're gonna get and what third basemen are available, and that's what Craig would be looking up. And I love that about this game so much.
Sure. And also, my big pet peeve is when people are like, baseball is boring. And I'm like, yeah. How many other sports can you get 4 points at once? Like,
well, football, you can get 7.
Yeah, but like they're always cumulative.
1,
you know what I mean? They don't really do oneers there a lot.
Yeah. So, but really Shane, on that note, obviously, you are more than welcome to come back and vent Blue Jay baseball, or like we always say, cheer and throw the beer at the TV when we're upset.
Perfect. Whatever. I'll see you guys next Wednesday. Standing invitation. I've got the StreamYard link now. I can just pop in anytime I want. So hey,
you can do whatever you like.
We'd be fine with that.
Like, hey, here's Shane.
Here's Shane. Shane's just gonna noodle on his guitar for half an hour while I drink.
I could do that too. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Good play. So obviously I want to make sure I give you your shameless self-promoting time because your publicist was the one that linked us up. I want to make sure she gets everything that she was looking out of this whole thing because you have an exciting year in Silverstein going on, and I want to make sure that the Blue Jays fans obviously have a chance to hear from you.
Sure, yeah, the Blue Jays, it's a great time to go take a piss or whatever if you want to. But yeah, my band has just done. We've done 3 tours this year already, celebrating our 25th anniversary of being a band, which is crazy.
That's amazing.
We thank you. And we put out our first album this year, but we have a second album coming out in September as well. And we're kind of releasing singles all year as well. We got a really great song that just came out called Negative Space. It's got a funny video where I'm in downtown Las Vegas as like a shitty detective, kind of like Inspector Gadget vibes or something. It's there you go. So that song's called Negative Space, and we've just filmed a video for a song called Drain the Blood, which is featuring Rory from the band Dayseeker. Great band. So yeah, we got a lot of music coming out to look out for, and we are also I guess a lot of Canadians watch this. We did play Toronto and Montreal earlier this year, but we are planning on doing some more Canadian dates, and we're going to be announcing them as well. So check your local listings, if you will, for that. Yes. Yes. And the comments I've made cannot be disseminated by Major League Baseball or whatever they say every time. Yeah. When have you ever heard the word disseminated? I was like, Mom, what's that word? That sounds sexual. I don't know if I like that word. But no, for real though. We're busy all year. We're doing lots of stuff, and anything you want to check out, you can find by following me. It's just at Shane Told, TOLD, on Instagram or whatever, and our website is silversteinmusic.com.
There you go. And well played on Negative Space, by the way. I love the hook at the beginning of that song. Rock and roll.
Thank you, man. Yeah, it's a really fun jam, really fun one. Really enjoying it.
Tons of energy. Love it. So Shane, like I mentioned, you're more than welcome to come back anytime you want. Make sure you hit us up and we'll just make a date happen.
Yeah,
you can come on and vent. It was way too much fun. We cannot say enough about how much fun we had with you this evening.
Craig, when you see me there in the waiting room popping in, okay? Because I know I've used this platform before. The people watching don't know, but you just see a gray figure at the bottom. It's gonna be me. I'm gonna be like, "Hi guys." And you're like, "Oh no, should we let him in or not?" I'll be here.
We're gonna start calling it a Shane bomb. We're like, there's Shane bomb tonight. What's up with Shane? And Shane's gonna be like, just give us a really shitty baseball take, just a shitty baseball take, and then he's gonna leave, and then we're gonna fight about it for a half an hour.
That's right. No, I'm going to be like a drunker Harry Carey coming in here every week. Get ready for it.
Yeah.
We had that goof of like we were trying to get Jason's kids to do like the Ollie report for Family Guy, and you go, "Hey, we're going to cut to Ollie with the weather," and he just cut to him, and he goes, "It's raining," and then they cut away from him. So the Shane cut in. So
that's right. Well, you should get. I don't know who else you've had on here, but there's probably lots of music baseball people that would love to come on and chat like I did. So let me know if you got
Yeah.
some wants. I know some people.
I do. Yeah, I got some
We
wants.
are the we are the
Nice.
barroom chat for all Blue Jays fans and musicians and whoever wants to be here.
Sounds good.
been
Well,
very
thanks you for having me.
fun people that we've had this year.
Shane, I hope you get to
Yeah.
make it out to a game soon. You're in Vegas, so I'm assuming you're not heading out.
No, well, I went to I'm gonna go see the Blue Jays when they're out in LA.
Yes.
They're playing the Dodgers. Last year I went to a game out in San Diego, so I try to do that whenever I can.
Good.
But I'm gonna come back this summer at some point and go back to the Dome and
Have you been in the
definitely rock it out.
Have you been in the Red Oak Stadium?
Yeah, well, I went to not this year, so I guess
Yeah.
they've done more this year, but I went last year.
Yeah.
When they did a bunch of stuff, and yeah, it's cool. The only
$20,
problem
man.
I have, here's a quick little rant,
Let's go.
is the games are too short now, man.
I know.
This pitch clock, it's
Yep.
it's ruined it. It's like usually it's like, okay, I got a little time, I could spend a couple innings like walking around and looking at shit.
Yeah.
Now it's like I can't. I'm only here for like two hours and 15 minutes to watch this baseball game. Like, bring on the 3.5 hour games. That's my favorite.
It's true. You can
I was
really
actually
settle in.
at the longest Blue Jay game in history, and I loved every minute of it. And it was one of those, it was the Carlos Delgado years and everything. The Yankees with Roger Clemens, it was his first start back in Toronto after being traded to the Yankees. The Blue Jays lit him up the first 3 innings, and then the Yankees tipped back. It ended up being like a 14-15 game, and freaking Chuck Knobloch hits a walk-off freaking home run of all people. I'm like,
All
God,
people.
all people, him, Mr. Captain Yips.
Captain Yips, exactly.
So, but just wild stuff. But yeah, no, I miss that ballpark feel that you just get to go. It's like sometimes the lines are too long to even get a beer, and you go back and it's like, well, where'd the 3 innings go? I just got here. I know we did that the one day we showed up a little late, Liz, because we were drinking at left field.
I was
It's
drinking.
true.
Yeah, that is how it be. And they stopped serving on the 7th, except I found the bars that serve till the 9th. I figured out where they are in the stadium.
Really?
There you go.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
you gotta casually DM me that link. Oh my god! I mean that info. Absolutely.
The drinks are
Wow.
more expensive.
This is
but
our
they're-
inside.
That's what's up.
Okay. All right.
Cool.
That's
All right.
that's
We got one
hot.
more thing.
Yeah,
Hot
let's do it.
info.
We got one more thing. We got to do our picks to click
Yeah,
here
we
real
have a
quick,
game.
if you don't mind, for our closeout, Shane. It's our game that we play here with the 3 of us along with our guests. And
Let's go.
basically, the idea is to pick who is going to be the best performer in Toronto Blue Jays baseball from today until our next recording next Wednesday, and you get to be the illustrious.
OPS? What's the
these
stat?
wonderful names. Right now, it's Liz has got no
what's
stats. It's who's going to be the best performer, like the MVP of this past week. In
So
Blue Jays
what do you go by? OPS? Do you go by just like overall? Just okay. These are like
Did the most
up
stuff?
for debate.
kind of gut feel, but we go around and pick.
Okay.
And right now, Liz is kicking all of our asses
Yeah,
with
how
4
do I do
wins
it?
to
I just keep
Jason's
picking
1
Vladdy.
and 2. And our guest spot has a win with Andres Jimenez, funny enough, to begin the season.
Okay.
And in the midst of this last week, these were the 4 players that got picked last week. So you tell me which one of these that you think had, in your personal opinion, the best week in Blue Jays baseball. And last week, the picks were Anthony Santander, Addison Barger, Ernie Clement, and George Springer. I know that's a really
those are the
bad
names
lack.
people picked.
Those were the people that we all picked collectively last week.
Was
and
it,
that
was
one
it
painful.
Clement? I'm going Clement. I haven't watched any baseball games in 3 days.
It definitely wasn't Tony Taters playing in a whole
Fucking
2
was
games.
not. Did you give me Tony Taters? Fuck you guys. Come on.
Clement's a good guess. Yeah, I think it might have been Clement.
Yeah. Let's go with Ernie Clement, and that gives Jason his 2nd win of the season. So, Shane, you're our guest. So, who do you think is going to have the best week in Blue Jays baseball from today until next Wednesday?
Dalton Varsho.
Dalton Varsho, solid pick.
Let's
It's been
go.
on fire. Liz, your pick.
You know what? Vladdy. That's how I win.
Going with the Vladdy.
You mean not Addison Barger? What an insane pick that was.
I
was
often
feeling
pick. If I were to decide, sometimes I pick based on who's the biggest babe, and so that's
Yeah.
What about who has
I'm,
the most 18th century name?
Addison Barger. Addison Barger.
This is my son Addison.
Yes.
It's like a pinky out last name in that ballpark that you were just going at. I'm gonna pick Alejandro Kirk because he actually has been driving in a few runs over the last few games. I know it's not a lot to hang my hat on, but y'all did the hot players, so I got to do that. And then seeing Jason was not able to attend, we got to do the illustrious, horrible spin here that who was the worst player in Blue Jays last week, but he didn't play the whole week. That's the problem. I got to give somebody at least played 5 games last week. Oh my God, he actually did play 5 games last week. That's just how bad it was. So he's going to get Tony Taters. So that is our wonderful, horrible game that we play for bragging rights when us and our guests here on the show. So
I love it.
There we go. That's the show. So any parting words before I do our sign off, bud?
No, thanks for having me, and appreciate what you do. And go Blue Jays.
Damn right. So on that, feel free to hang out for a minute and close out with us after I hit the end button here. But Blue Jays fans, this has been an evening with Shane Told of Silverstein. We are very happy to have him and all of his wonderful Blue Jay knowledge and goof around here on the show. Make sure you listen in live every week. Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern time. We will be back next week with our friend of the show, Bob File is next week if he still has the time. Bob File, former Blue Jay player. And make sure you check out our wonderful new website, jbirdwatching.com, because I have an article that we discussed a little bit with Bob File during his last to talk about how we can't develop players anymore because there's not enough players to develop. So there is that much fun too. Okay. So until then, thank you very much, Blue Jays fans. We will talk to you soon, and we'll see you next week. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you for listening to the Jay Bird Watching Podcast. Please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch at BirdwatchingGC, and our YouTube channel. If you want to support the show and get extra content, please consider joining to our Patreon at patreon.com/birdwatchinggc. Go Jays, go.
Woo!